You are live.
Good morning. For those of you who might not recognize this face in front of you, my name is Jim McCarthy, and I'm Vice Chair of the Board. And I'm sitting in today for Board Chair Joanne Ryan, who wasn't able to be with us. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the Secretary to please call the roll.
Thank you. Vice Chair McCarthy.
Present.
Chair Ryan. Absence is noted. Regent Balducci.
Here.
Regent Bloom.
Here.
Student Regent Galais.
Present.
Regent Gway. Absence is noted, but he is due to be joining us. Regent James.
Present.
Regent Japanin.
Present.
Regent Porth.
Present.
Student Regent Sanchez. He is
Present.
expected. Oh, there he is. Thank you. Regent Santiago.
Present.
Regent Stewart. Absence is noted. Regent Wright.
Here.
Regent Yang. Absence is noted. Ex officio Professor Cunningham.
Present.
Ex officio Professor Sasanker.
I'm here.
Commissioner Bartolomeo. Absence is noted. Commissioner Giutani. Absence is noted. Commissioner O'Keefe. Absence is noted. Commissioner Russell Tucker. Absence is noted. Chief Workforce Officer Valeries. Absence is noted. Vice Chair McCarthy, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. As you all know from having seen the material, this special meeting has only one item, the presentation of an equitable access program fee for student book purchases at Charter Oak College. I'd like to request a motion to introduce the item for discussion, and we will move from there. Second.
Second.
Second. Motion's been moved and seconded, so we can now move to the discussion period. Dr. David Ferreira, the provost at Charter Oak State College, has a presentation ready to go, and I'll just say that he's going to model what I hope will be the situation for the rest of the meeting. His presentation will be very brief, in no more than 15 minutes. And he knows that the microphone will be cut off if he reaches the 15-minute mark, and we can all learn from that. So, and President Klinowski is here as well. David, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, and I'll name that tune, and I'll get it done in 10 minutes or less. Good morning, everyone. Let me go ahead and start up the presentation and to get going here. And let me go into share and slideshow. Okay. From beginning. Okay. So you just want to make sure, because I have a dual screen. Do you see the main one here, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with us on this short notice, and really glad to go over the fee that's proposed, and to give you some data specific to Charter Oak State College, because this fee is for Charter Oak. Okay. So what I want to do is just do things really quick, which is tell you where we are currently, the proposal, and then the reasons why it benefits Charter Oak State College students. First is want to tell you about the current environment. We looked at the spring 2024 data to make sure everything was up to date, and we literally went line by line to see what students are currently paying and what they would pay under the proposed fee. And in spring 2024, we found that students on average pay about over $100 per class for current textbooks and software over at Charter Oak State College. Also at the same time, it's really important to note that many of our students pay for their current course materials using financial aid vouchers. And And as we looked at the data, over 50% of our students on financial aid actually needed the voucher to go ahead and purchase their materials. So, and there's a reason, that could pose delays for students that will kind of get into. Another thing is actually a number of our, when talking to our Student Government Association about the proposed course materials fee, they noted actually that they get a lot of requests for emergency funds to help pay for course materials that under this proposal they would no longer have to do, and they can re-engage those funds for other areas such as food insecurity. Also, because we do a book voucher process, we actually examined how much time this takes on the Charter Oak end. And over 20% of one person's time in our bursar's office is dedicated just to book vouchers during peak registration. So this is something where it can be removed and actually free up human resource time to do much more valuable things with our students. And also a number of our vouchers come after the start of class, and that can negatively impact a student's ability to get those materials as close to day one as possible. And also, we found that in the data that we examined over spring 2024, there's also a lot of high shipping costs that our students do when there is a physical textbook. It ranges a lot of times from on typically $8 to $20, but there's been as high as $200 that we found over in the spring semester. So about the fee, as you see over in your report, it's $18.75 per credit fee. It's required textbooks and course materials. That is going to be very, very important to note that it not just covers our textbooks, our ebooks, but also it does cover a lot of the software needs that we do have, like MyLabs and MindTap, things of that nature. Shipping is included. That's a really great thing for our students, that where we do have physical textbooks, because again, that helps us achieve even further savings above that. Plus, also, there is the opt-out ability. And what I wanted to really highlight in here is that there is a robust communication plan planned for our students to make sure that they know about the opt-out ability. And I'll just touch on a few of them. One, in our CRM system, our customer relations management system, we're putting as part of our communication plan during the matriculation process. We're currently developing templates of communication, so we have consistency in our messaging across the board. We have a new student orientation that is a self-paced course in Blackboard. We are going to be embedding also that material about the situations where to opt out and the ability to opt out if they choose, and explain scenarios where it makes sense to go either the fee route or opt-out route based upon their personal situation. We're also working with our academic advisors. We're at the point of enrollment. We inform the students about the opt-out ability. We also will have a website landing page that is dedicated towards the equitable access plan, also with a frequently asked questions area, so that students can thoroughly get all the information that they do need. And again, where we would create videos where we would go over these scenarios where it may make sense to go the fee route, or it may make sense to go with the opt-out route. We're also going to really emphasize in our communication that this is a rental piece with the fee, because one of our areas of our Student Government Association, they really wanted to stress, is that some of our students do like to purchase the book instead of rent. And in that scenario, for example, we say that if you plan to purchase all your books, you can either go with the fee, where it's like kind of like a lease option with a car, rent to own, or you would go ahead and opt out and choose to go ahead and purchase the materials. We're also updating all of our syllabi about the equitable access program, and also about the ability to opt out. And then also our My Charter Oak student portal will have that link to all that information. So you can see that we have a robust communication plan planned in multiple areas, so that students will have the ability to be fully informed about what they will be able to do. But why are we excited about this program? As I said, we looked at the data from spring of 2024. We found over 20% savings for our students as compared to what they're currently paying. All right, many are actually, that's a conservative estimate when we examine the data student by student. A lot of it ranges between 20% and 50% over current what their current situation is. We also examined students by major because of our courses. And I know sometimes there may have been a thing where our STEM students going to benefit more than non-STEM students, for example. We actually found that these savings applied across STEM and non-STEM majors. The reason for that at Charter Oak State College is that a lot of our courses in our social and behavioral sciences, et cetera, not only require a book, but also the supplemental software where they do simulations and quizzes and things that rely on those types of MyLab situations. Lastly, the one thing we also are finding is that because 100% of our students would have access to the materials on day one, this will actually help increase student success rates. For example, as I said, that students sometimes are not able to get that book voucher until after the start of their classes. And when we looked at our data, those that were that late registrants and relied on those book vouchers later on and got those later had lower success rates. So by taking away those steps, that's what actually speeds up the process to get them the material on day one, because it automatically loads and will lead to higher success rates. Which is really what we're all about here at Charter Oak State College, in that our strategic plan and pillar number 5 is about the student experience and how can we give the best digital program here of an online college. Also, this goes along with the Board of Regents goals with affordability and sustainability. So we believe that this program would be a particular benefit to the Charter Oak State College students, especially when we examine the data line by line. And so with that, we're excited to see this program come to fruition with your approval. And with that, I said I'll keep it under 10 minutes, and I'd love to then exit and then turn it on over back to the Regents to see if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, David. That was a very concise and clear presentation, and given it a pace that was moderate, given how few minutes you used. So we'll open this for discussion. Let me just make one statement before we move to discussion. From the minutes or from the material that was distributed that the 4 state universities are continuing to consider an equitable access program fee, but they felt that they didn't have the time, given the complexity of their situations, to make those adjustments or have that consideration in time for fall semester. Charter Oak's situation being different, they felt they were able to consider and adjust and come back to us. So the floor is open for discussion. Keep in mind that we had a long, not always clear discussion about this matter during the last board meeting, but let's hope that we can clarify whatever questions remain. Pam is going to manage the discussion. I'm not really adept at looking at 3 screens at the same time to watch who's raised which hand. So Pam's going to do that, and I'll keep things moving.
Thank you. First up, Regent James.
Yes, I noticed in the pre-read that you discussed the socialization efforts both with faculty and with students. Would you like to comment a little more on that aspect of the process?
Yes, great question. Thank you. So we're going through the process during the fall and spring semester, keeping our faculty up to date with where we were in this process. Now, understanding that it wasn't RFP, so we couldn't get into details about the fees and things like that. But we talked about the principles and the reasons why we were talking about it and trying to bring it forward. Our faculty in particular noted about they see it all the time, and the percentage of students that are struggling in the first week because they don't have their materials. So they definitely saw the benefit from this. Also, I think, as I mentioned last month, is because of the nature of our online classes, of the textbooks and the reliance on software, that even that only 5% of Charter Oak courses use OER material. And so they understand that it's maybe a little bit different situation here, where we do rely upon some of that material in a greater capacity. With our students, as I said, they were definitely in favor of it. And one thing they actually made in particular, one comment was they hope that this is a pilot program, that if it shows success, that it can be shared with the other 6 CSCU institutions, in particular, because a lot of our students, 55% of our students at Charter Oak, are graduates of CT State. They actually noted in particular that they see a great benefit to the CT State students in the future, because I know, coming from the Northwestern campus before, I knew the percentage of students that relied on going to the library to get access to those books because they couldn't afford it. And And if the book was checked out at that period of time, they couldn't do the homework for that week. So I think they're hoping to show is that if we show these success rates growing, in particular in our gateway classes and with our Pell students, that maybe that could be data that could in particular benefit our CT state students.
Regent Gway.
Thank you, David. Nice presentation. I'm wondering if we have a plan at the end of the semester to survey the students on what they felt about the program. A survey generated by us, not the vendor, but to really drive insights on how they felt about the program, the program's efficacy, our timing, how productive was our communication plan, and areas of improvement. I think, if we think this is a good program, which I do for a broader audience, I really would like to learn a lot through Charter Oak if we do this program. And are we capable of setting up that kind of a survey?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'll answer for David. The institution is at your disposal, and I agree with you that I think the results of that survey would be very interesting. So we agree we will do that with our students this semester. Thank you.
And for the regents, just for clarification, the next to last resolved in the resolution reads that Charter Oak will submit a report to the board by the end of both the fall 2024 and spring 2025 semesters to include detailed statistics on the opt-out rates, as well as an analysis of the overall performance and reception of the Equitable Access Program. So
Yeah.
that is part of the resolution.
I saw that. I'm just really interested in the VOC. And if we do a VOC at the end, I think even if we host some focus groups in person also, I think there's some rich information that we can cull out from the students, not just the statistics.
Glad to be helpful to you, sir.
Thanks, Ed.
And see, Student Regent Galais.
Hi, good morning. I just want to say thank you very much for your presentation. I thought it was very informative. It touched on some of the concerns that I mentioned at our last board meeting. One thing, kind of piggybacking on what everyone else has said, I think getting the feedback will be super important because one of the biggest concerns is that students not opting out and not even realizing that they are signing up and getting charged for this program. So how, I know that hasn't really been worked out yet, but I just want to emphasize the importance of nailing down those people and how can we prevent that large scale. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very good point. And because one of the things I want to make sure does not happen in here, and this is something I think we can include in analysis, I want to make sure that students do not purchase course materials in addition to the fee. And I think because then you're paying like 1.5. So I think as mentioned here is we're making sure that we communicate over to the students prior to matriculation and then at the point of registration. We will let them know because I think one thing we wanted to also make sure we emphasize is actually this is a selling point to the students that your course materials are included in the tuition and fees. So it's making sure that we actually we view this actually as a positive and as a convenience factor, to make sure that at that point of time in enrollment that we have communicated. By the way, your materials are already purchased with the fee. However, you do have the ability to opt out if you do wish, and here's scenarios that you may want to look into to see if that makes sense for you. Because we definitely see this as a positive way because also, as I said, 78% of our students work full time. They lead very busy lives, and they actually, in a way, like the convenience of having this taken care of for them as well. It's in a way kind of like why we like DoorDash and why we like Uber Eats. It's because it's already taken care of. It's convenient for you.
David didn't mention this, but our competitor institutions already do this. And so for an online student, it's kind of expected that your materials will be part of the tuition price and be available to you on day one. Our courses last 8 weeks. So week one is the equivalent of the first 3 weeks at most schools, most semesters. So we don't have the luxury of letting students wander around trying to find their books for 10 days. That doesn't work real well from an academic standpoint. Thank you.
Thank you. Student Regent Sanchez.
Good morning, guys. David, that was a good presentation. I think it's really important just to gather the feedback from the students. I can definitely see how this program is beneficial for Charter Oak and its students, and you did a good job presenting that to us. And I definitely think the feedback that is gathered from the first year of this program being implemented can be used to test out and see if this could be potentially beneficial to the other institutions. So thank you.
Thank you. Regent Japanen.
Hi, David. Thank you so much. That was an amazing presentation. I love the data-driven approach and all the time and effort you put into the research. I think that this program will be amazing for Charter Oak, and I look forward to how it to seeing what it will become and being able to do those surveys and getting feedback. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And yeah, and to that point, and we are fully committed to making sure we have a robust evaluation of this because, as we mentioned, if it does make sense for other CSU institutions, also we're happy to share what data what KPIs did we look at in doing our analysis. We're happy to share that as well with any of the other institutions. As said, looking line by line, where we kudos to actually to our CFO and our bursar's office, being able to literally go through and see every single student, what's the current cost, and compare it to the equitable access. And because also it helps us in our analysis for our communication plan as well when we looked at it, because we did notice what are maybe some trends where in certain areas or certain programs, it might make sense, certain semesters that a student would actually opt out. Doing that line by line analysis does help. And yeah, we're committed to helping any other institution that wants to learn more about it to see if it might benefit theirs as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Regent Bloom. Hold on a second. We can't hear you. No. No. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? You can hear me? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. I take it from the presentation then that the students will be counseled individually on each semester on what choice to make, on what the choices are they're going to make.
Yes, and so we actually have our data. We actually use Power BI, and so we know what percentage of our students have also met with an academic advisor. And so making sure, one, that we have that in the meet-in piece of the academic advisor, but for those the small percentage that did not meet with their advisor but still registered, to make sure we have a separate communication plan for them, because we know that when you meet face to face or over the phone with an advisor, we know that we're covering that as part of our templated scripts as part of after the registration process. But we're going to have to treat those students who registered without the meeting a little bit differently and making sure we have that communication plan. So I met with my team yesterday and we talked about that, and we are going to be looking to solidify in detail the communication plan by middle of May to make sure that we hit all angles and all scenarios during that registration process.
Thank you. Regent McCarthy.
Yes, I just want to emphasize one point that's come out in these discussions, and that's the value of this Charter Oak College experience as a pilot study. And really, there's nothing better than a good pilot study to help direct future changes. And I just also want to make sure to clarify, repeat, that the 4 state universities continue to be interested in this. It was just a matter of lack of time to do the detailed consideration that they felt they needed after the last board meeting. So this, I'm sure, will help them move ahead and undertake that detailed consideration.
Any other questions or comments? Vice Chair McCarthy, that appears to be everyone.
All right, so the motion has been introduced and seconded. So I can call the vote now. All those in favor of the proposal to establish an equitable access program fee at Charter Oak State College for the purposes of supporting the purchase of textbooks and course materials. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
The motion has carried. And
Excuse me, Vice Chair McCarthy, may I have the name of the abstention, please, for the minutes?
Balducci.
And sorry, that was a no vote from Regent Stewart as well.
okay, no for Regent Stewart, abstention from Regent Balducci.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all very much. Time target achieved. Before I call for a motion to move to executive session, let me state that the board will move to executive session for the purpose of discussing matters under Connecticut General Statute Section 1-206A. No votes will be taken in executive session. Additionally, there will be no discussion, action, or votes by the board following executive session. The only action following executive session will be a declaration of adjournment by the chair. Therefore, let me call for a motion to move to executive session for the purposes as I have described, and to adjourn by declaration of the chair when that discussion in executive session concludes.
So
That
moved.
motion. Second. Can I have a
Second.
second? Okay, motion made, seconded. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Abstentions? The open portion of our meeting has concluded. I've asked Chancellor Chang and the board and systems legal counsel Litvin to join us for the executive session.
Hold on, please.
Thank you all.
And thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Nice job.
David, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.